You have to admire the Dutch, because what they've done, right, is legalise drugs, and now there are far fewer people in prison. I suppose the next step is to legalise murder. There'll be far, far fewer people in general. Sometimes, though, it's difficult to know if you remember something or you remember the photograph of something. I think my earliest memory is of being in America, standing over an air vent and my skirt billowing up. That's not a very technique today.
Well done. Points there to Midland Jones. Come on back. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What Is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Andy, which category would you like?
Sport, please. OK,
your category is sport. The answer is booze, blondes and dwarves. What is the question?
What is the worst Earth, Wind and Fire tribute act on the circuit?
Is it what were the news of the world after stories about when they hacked Snow White's phone?
Why did Gandalf go missing for so long in Lord of the Rings?
Is it what's under this desk?
What's under this desk and eating a carrot at the moment?
No carrot.
Is it what are the 3 badges they've introduced to stem the decline in membership at the Cubs?
Is it what is the most common mishearing of Dutch Prime Minister Boes Blondendorf's name?
Is it what was on the conveyor belt in the Generation game, Too Hot for TV?
Contents of the best ever Kinder Egg.
Is it things Ashley Cole's been sick on? All based on facts, people.
Is it what are Carrie Fisher's main recollections of filming Return of the Jedi?
Is it name 3 reasons cited in the recent Cranky versus Cranky divorce case?
What were the 3 weirdest things that MPs tried to claim exclusively?
And you know the correct answer is?
It's probably what have the England rugby team been involved with?
That is
something
close
like
enough. That's
that.
absolutely fine. The question I was looking for is, what might the England team be best remembered for after this year's Rugby World Cup? England's World Cup campaign came to an end on Saturday when they were knocked out in the quarter-final in Auckland by France in a 1912 defeat. They saw a number of on- and off-pitch scandals, with the team's boozy night out at a club which featured dwarf throwing attracting widespread criticism in the press. And unbelievably hilarious nonetheless. It wasn't just dwarf thing, it was leprechaun night.
I feel sorry for the dwarves. They've had it up to...
There were problems as well because one of them jumped off a ferry.
Yeah, Manu
Tuilagi.
Tuilangi.
Well, there's no end in there. If you want to...
No, it's his pronunciation of it, actually.
Oh, yeah, because you speak fluent Samoan.
I speak... Sorry, hang on. Why would I need to speak fluent Samoan? He's English.
What? Sure. He says he's English, but he's in fact Samoan. He just owns a cat.
In other news, what might we be facing this winter?
Winter.
Yes. Yeah. That is genuinely the big news this week. Apparently winter will be coming this winter, and we should watch out for that, because it might come as a huge surprise to people.
They're worried about this lack of solar activity, because they're saying that the same last year. We had a very cold December, coldest for 100 years. A lot of our airports were closed, whilst, in fact, the airports in Alaska and Moscow were still open. So they're saying what we should get is a heated runway. And you're thinking, environmentally, that's got to be terrible. But also, it'd be dangerous, wouldn't it? If they're worried about all those birds flying up into the engines, think about it, a heated runway, there'd be cats curled up all the way around.
The other thing we used to do with my cat...
Oh,
Wasn't wait till it had a particularly big shit and do some skipping.
Yeah. But my parents used to take it for a walk. They used to take it for a walk on a lead, on a 30-foot washing line.
Is that When it's swallowed. Yeah. Beginning to fit.
I always dread to ask this, where did they take him on the little walk?
Oh, we took it everywhere. We took it on holiday. It went up, it climbed Penny Ghent in the Yorkshire Dales.
Don't forget, this is on the end of a line. It wasn't as it willingly was. Basically, you're climbing it and dangling underneath you.
Did you ever get to a point when there was a washing line halfway into the cat and then halfway out, so the cat had basically 15 metres of... And then you...
Why have BBC subtitles come under fire this week?
Because they're wrong.
They do tend to be... Why do they tend to be wrong, though?
Well, the reason that subtitles tend to be wrong, often they're typed live by people who make mistakes. I don't know if you've ever typed when the telly's on. It's very distracting.
They were saying, weren't they? They're blaming it on this voice recognition software. And one of the examples was pigs apparently like to nibble anything that comes into their sheds, including wellies. That's what was being said. And it came up on screen, instead of wellies, they like nibbling willies. That has nothing to do with voice recognition software. That is somebody taking the piss in the BBC subtitle department.
Yeah, there's any number of these. The Labour leader Ed Miliband has complained previously that he's been referred to on the subtitling as the Ed Miller Band. Viewers were so surprised to see that the famous religious leader visiting a local town was, in fact, the Archbitch of Canterbury. Ooh, call this a church? I don't think so.
I saw that one come up.
Yeah, instead of
That would be
crossing
great.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Ain't no bitch become priest in my church. The most famous example was during the Queen Mother's funeral, when what should have read, "We'll now have a moment's silence for the Queen Mother," read, "We'll now have a moment's violence."
I love the idea.
Just get it.
There's always, they can always use the deaf subtitly people, the deaf
Oh,
signy people.
you were doing that. I genuinely didn't know you were doing that.
People
Yeah.
who are now going deaf signy people in the corner.
They're just doing that, are they?
No, that's deaf for blur, essentially.
I don't know if there's any version of the show that goes out late with signing. I have no idea. Maybe you can tell me. That'd be lovely. Please let that actually happen. What might we be tapping our elbow... Excuse me, I'll do that again, excuse me. Why might we be tapping... Ah, for fuck's sake.
Love to see the subtitles coming up at the moment.
That's it. You and me are through. At the end of that round, the points go to Miles, Andy and Andy! Now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, please. I'll read out this week's topics and then we'll see what our panellists can come up with. OK, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to read in the Bible.
And lo, they finally saw the sign that God had promised. You are now leaving Swindon.
But when they got there, the tomb was empty. "Rikes!" said Scoob.
Sodom and Gomorrah, twinned with Tyne and Weir.
And the children of Israel wandered round the desert for 40 years, until eventually Moses' wife said, "Are you going to ask for directions?" Or...
And Eve did realise that she was naked and she was ashamed. But then Gok Wan said, "Look, work it, baby, you look amazing."
And Noah said, if it carries on raining like this, we're going to have to eat the unicorns.
And Moses saw the burning bush and said to his wife, "I think you've overdone that bikini wax again."
And David smoked Goliath. He meant to smack him, but he was using predictive text.
Eve! Eve! Use fig leaves, not nettles.
And the Lord said, shit, I've made a wasp!
And Jesus saw a traveller in distress and said unto him, well, why don't you just leave Dale Farm and find somewhere else to live?
And the Lord said to Gideon, take this book and put it in every travel lodge.
Listen, this is really awkward. I know there's a bit of a queue, but it's just that I'm not a really big fan of fish. Oh.
There were only 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Never go to Lidl on a Saturday night.
OK, the next topic, please. Unlikely things to hear in a makeover show.
Welcome to What Not to Wear. A welly on your cock.
This week's Look Good Naked, starring Edwina Currie, is the last in the series. And was recorded shortly before Gokwan's suicide.
Well, we've started off by ripping up all the decking. Abandon ship!
We are going to give you back all your confidence and your dignity as soon as we hoover the fat out of your arse.
Michelle has got jowls, false teeth, and, in fact, a moustache. But unfortunately, we're here to do up her front room, not her face.
David and Jane wanted more space, so we've repossessed their house and they're living in the park.
Well, we've pebble dashed, replastered and put new plumbing in downstairs, and now Anne Robinson is good as new.
Welcome to 60-minute makeup. Oh, babe, actually, that's going to take a lot longer.
If you want to feel better looking and increase your self-esteem, move to Leeds.
And today on Property Ladder, we're going to show you how to break into a property using a ladder.
You're obviously very sensitive about your weight and you shouldn't be. Do you mind if I call you lard arse?
Well, Ian wanted a Renaissance look, so I've just set fire to a Catholic and taken a shit out of the window.
Talking of decking, who wants to punch Nick Knowles in the face?
Today on 10 Years Younger, we're going to try and squeeze 9-year-old Amy back up her mother's womb.
OK, at the end of that round, the points go to Chris here in Milton. And that's the end of the show. This week's winners are Andy Parsons, Andy Osho and Miles Jupp. Commiserations to Chris Allison, Hugh Dennis and Milton Jones. Thank you for watching. I'm Darby. Good night.
All the Well Good bits from Series 2. It's Lee Nelson's Well Good show over on BBC 3 now. And tomorrow night, a show filled with bright ideas. QI gets inventive at 10. Next, the first interview with an MP jailed over the expenses scandal and new questions for the Defence Secretary in Newsnight.